Piecewise functions. All right, we call them piecewise functions because they're actually done in pieces. Here's an example of what it looks like as a graph. So we would do this piece, and then we would do this piece. All right, so there's two different pieces in this graphical representation of a piecewise function. All right, in mathematical notation, they look like this. And in words, it would look like this. All right. So let's start off with a piecewise function. We're going to talk a little bit about it. It's a combination of functions. All right. Now with these, what you do is you get the function, and then on the other part of it, after the comma, you get the domain. In other words, these are the numbers that you can use for this function. All right. So for this function, we can only use when x is less than or equal to 1. All right? And then for this function, 3x plus 1, we can only use numbers that are greater than 1. All right? So that tells you, that's what that first page was. It just gives you a little explanation of what a piecewise function looks like. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to evaluate a piecewise function. So here's our piecewise function right here. All right, that's our function. All right, first thing we're going to evaluate for is we're going to evaluate it when x is equal to 0. Okay, so then first thing we do is we go over and see which one we're going to use. So x, which our x is 0 less than 2? And the answer is yes. So that means we use this function to evaluate 0. So for f of 0, we're going to use the first function, so we plug in the 0 plus 2, and we get our answer, which is 2. All right, so f of 0, or when x is 0, the answer is 2. Okay, the next one we're going to do is 2. So now, is 2 less than 2? And the answer is no, it's not less than 2. All right, so we say is 2 greater than or equal to 2? And the answer is yes, 2 is greater than or equal to 2. So we're going to use this function. So f of 2, which again I get from here, is equal to, we plug the 2 in, so it's going to be 2 times 2 plus 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. All right, the next one, we got x is equal to 4. All right. So, again, we look over here. Is 4 less than 2? And the answer is no. Is 4 greater than or equal to 2? And the answer is yes. So, we're going to use this function. All right. So, f of 4 is equal to 2 times 4 plus 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. And we have our answer for that. All right. So that is evaluating a piecewise function. You should be able to do that. That shouldn't be a problem. All right. Make sure if you're having trouble with this, you ask me questions. All right. Now we're going to graph a piecewise function. All right. So this one, you guys should follow along with it. Don't work along exactly with me because I am going to be erasing at some points. Okay. So what we do is we have this. We have our function right here. All right. So I'm going to just look at the first one. So our first one is y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Notice I replaced the f of x with the y just so that it's in our function form. So we're going to graph this. We're going to begin at positive 1. And we're going to move up 1 over 2. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And we continue to do that. And we can go back in the same, well, sort of same way. You've got to make sure you're making the same line. All right, so there's our line. I just did it dotted. Now, there's a reason that I did it dotted. Because we're not going to draw this whole line in. All right, now, once we get it in there with the dots, now we're going to go to this part. All right, so now this part says x is less than 2. So what we got to do is we got to go to 2, all right? And then we go up where the graph is. Now, since it is strictly less than, we're going to put an open circle here, All right, so we get rid of that. And we're going to put an open circle where that line would be. All right, open circle means we're not including that point because it's strictly less than. All right, can't be equal to it. All right, now this sign right here, that sign looks like that. We make it into an arrow. All right, if we make it into an arrow, it's pointing that way. All right, so that means that's the side we draw. So we draw this side of the line from this circle. We're going to draw it. We draw that side. So we're only going to use this side. All right, only using that side of the line. And we can even erase these other dots because they're not included in this part of the graph. Okay. All right, once we have that done, now we can move on to the second one. All right, our second one says that it's y equals negative x plus 3. Okay, so that means we start at positive 3. 1, 2, 3. And we go down 1 over 1. Remember, down 1 over 1. It's no number there, so we put a 1 in. So down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, and we keep making that motion. All right, so now, this time, we're going to look and we see that we have x is greater than or equal to 2. So this time, we go to where the 2 is, we go up to where the graph is, and we're going to put a closed circle here. All right, so it's a closed circle this time. And look at our arrow now. Now, our sign looks like this. And again, if we make it into an arrow, it's pointing that way. All right, so it's pointing to the right. So we're only going to take from this point that we drew, all right, that closed circle that we drew, we're only going to draw towards the right because the arrow is pointing to the right. And that's it. All right, so that is our piecewise function graph. All right, I'll show you another one. We have another example here. All right, so in this other example, we have our g of x. All right, again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the first one, which is y equals x plus 2. We're going to put a 1 here over 1. So we begin at 2, and we move up 1 over 1. And we can keep going in the same direction, so we got our line, but only using dots. All right, so that's what our line would look like. So if I was going to draw that whole line out, that's what it would look like. But again, we don't want the whole thing. We only want the part where x is less than 2. So again, we're going to go over to 2. We're going to go up to where the graph is, and we're going to draw an open circle because it's strictly less than. Okay, it's not or equal to, so it's strictly less than, so we draw ourselves an open circle. All right, and we look at the arrow. Again, we make this into an arrow. It's pointing to the left. So from here, we're only going to draw the left side. So again, we follow the dots for the left side, and that's our graph for that first graph. All right, then we go to the second one. Again, we make it y equals 2x plus 1. Again, we can erase these dots because we're not using them. All right, we don't want to get it too confusing. All right, so we start at positive 1, and we're going to go up 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and then it will be off the graph. So again, got that in. So we go over to our, again, we look at this part, we go over to our 2, and it's greater than or equal to, so it's a closed circle. So this is going to be, again, over to 2, up to where our graph is, closed circle, all right? And this arrow is pointing to the right. So we're only going to draw the right side, this side from that. All right, so we only draw this part in, and that is our piecewise function. All right, once we get to both parts in there, we're done. Okay. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to graph a step function. All right, now this is called a step function because when we're done, it's going to look like a set of steps. Okay? All right, so the first one, I'm going to start at the top. It says 1. All right, so 1 would be this whole line that would go through here. All right, that's our y equals or f of x equals 1 would be the whole line that would go right through here. But we don't want that whole line. This time, we only want the piece that connects the 0 with the 1. Now, at the 0, we're going to put a closed circle. At the 1, we're going to put an open circle. Okay? So, again, that sign means closed because it's or equal to. This means open because it doesn't have the or equal to. So, again, we go over to our 0, all right, which is right here. We go up to where the 1 is, and we're going to put a closed circle. So here, here, closed circle. All right. Then we go to our 1, all right, and 1, and we're going to put an open circle. So 1, 1, open circle, and we only really want the piece that connects these two. So we just really connect those two. All right, that's the first one. And now the second one, we do the same thing, but this time at 2. So this time it would be this line that would go through here. And notice I'm not drawing, I'm just lightly tracing it. All right, so this time we're going to go to the 1, and we're going to make a closed circle, right? So over to 1 and up where the 2 is, we'll put a closed circle. And then we go over to the 2, 2, and we put an open circle, and we connect those 2 points. All right, and then we do the same thing for the next one. We go 2 and 3, all right, or 2 and 3, and we put a closed circle. So 2 and 3, closed circle, and then 3 and 3, and an open circle, and connect. All right, and then we got 4, which again would be this line up here. And we're going to go to 3, 4 and put a closed circle. And we're going to go to 4, 4 and put an open circle. And there it is. All right, and you notice when we're done with it, it looks like a set of steps. Okay? All right, example 5. All right, example 5. Same thing. This time we got at -2, so -2 would be this line that's down here. All right, so we're working only on that line right there. All right, so we have -2, 2, and we're going to put a closed circle. So -2, -2, closed circle. And then we got 1, -2, and we got an open circle. So 1, -2, and an open circle. All right, and then we just connect. Draw the line that connects those two. All right, and next we got -4. So now we're down here at -4. So we're down here, we're drawing. 1, -4, we're going to do a closed circle. So 1, -4, closed circle. And your open circle and closed circles for the different lines should line up. Okay, and then 3, -4. So 3, -4, open circle, and we connect. All right. Next we got 3, -6, and it's a closed circle. So 3, -6, closed circle. And then 6, -6, and an open circle. So 6, 3, 4, -6, open, and connect. All right, and then -7 is the next one. So 6, -7, 6, -7, and we got a closed circle. And then 8, -7, and an open circle. And there it is. Again, this time our staircase or our steps look like they're going down. All right. And that is what a step function looks like. And that's it. That's it for the notes for today. What I want you to do, you have this called the piecewise practice. All right. So this piecewise practice, you got these problems, which are going to use these functions. This is the f function, so they're used for the first three. And then the h function you're going to use for these three. And then you're going to graph these two, 7 and 8. These are our piecewise functions. And then you're also going to do 9 and 10. These are our step functions. So that's your assignment for today.